Hello everyone, this is another Unity UI tutorial. This is how to make a pretty basic calendar. Let me quickly show what it looks like. So here's our calendar. You can see that today's date is in green, and I can cycle through all the months, and it has accurate day positions based on each month. You can also see that the numbers, they all start as 1, but at runtime they generate the correct number based on the day and the month and the year. We'll go through the script to see how that works, but let's just take a quick look at the hierarchy. So we have canvas, which is just everything. We have this panel, which is the background, the blue background. This holder is this inner canvas, essentially, or inner panel. We've got all the days. This is a horizontal layout group, that's why it's spaced evenly across. Here's each day spelled out. We have each week. We know that there is going to be 6 weeks. That's the max number of weeks needed to represent a month. And so we're just going to represent every month with 6 weeks, even if it's not necessary, just because we want to be consistent. So this doesn't need to be generated at runtime. We can just put these in. And so there's going to be 6 of them. This is the title, calendar. The left and right arrows allow me to switch between months. If you look at this on-click event right here, you can see that these left and right arrows are calling this calendar.switchMonth from the calendar holder, so this calendar script. And this integer is just -1 or 1, determining if I should go back a month or forward a month. That's what the -1 or 1 represent. And then finally we have the month and year, this January 2019. This will be updated whenever the month changes. So that will need to be accessed through code to set it up to change. And I believe that is it. So let's look at the script. So this is our calendar class. Calendar class also has a subclass, a day. These days are going to make up the month in the calendar. We have day num, integer day num. This is the day of the month that each day is at, or each day represents. The day color, for the most part this will just be some default color. And then we have the object. So each of these days in this calendar week is a day object, and it's going to have a color, it's going to have the day value, and the game object that will be stored is like this object or any of these objects. Okay. So here's our constructor. We just need the day num day color object. We're going to set the color of the object to the day color, and then we're going to update the day. So let's take a look at update day. We actually probably should replace this with update color. Let's do that real quick. This should just be update color. Since we have a function for it, might as well use it. Sorry, not new color, day color. There we go. Okay, so we can look at update color first. It does the exact same thing that was written before. It's just more condensed. And I was also able to delete that day color equals new color because we already have that here inside this update color. So this function is just a little cleaner. Let's look at update day now. So it takes in a new day. We set this this class, this object's day number to the new day number. We check to see if the day color is white or green. If it is either of those two, then we're going to change the string to be that day number. So basically we're going to set the string to say if it's the 15th day of the month, then 15. The only two cases where the color isn't white or isn't green is if the day is a disabled day. So let me show you what I mean by that. So if I hit play, all the days in gray, and yes, these are still considered days, are disabled days because this month doesn't have more than 30 days, for example, or this month starts on Thursday. So these days are disabled days. So we're making sure that when we're trying to set the text within the day, we're making sure that it's an enabled day, not a disabled day. If it's a disabled day, we want to set the text to blank. There shouldn't be any text. If you want to show where the next month starts or ends, you could still add this text. For example, if I want to say this is I don't know exactly what this would be. Let's say it's the 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. I think it would actually be 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. But anyways, you could show these days if you wanted to, but require more work. Okay, so that's how you update the day. And then that's it for this day class. So we want a list of days. This will just be all the days in the month. We need to create this once. We need to create each of these days once, and then every time we change the month, we already have all the days in the month, including the disabled days. And so all we have to do is update the day values, the day colors, everything about the days, where we don't have to create new day objects. So we only need to create these once. And then weeks, this transform, this array of transforms stores all the parents of the days. That's what these weeks are. So it stores all of these. You go back into calendar, here's all of our weeks, and it's just these transforms. Okay. Since the array is in order, we know that the first week in the array is also the first week of the month, and so on. Month and year. So this is just that text that represents the month and the year, and we're going to be updating this text every time we change the month. This is the current date, daytime now. We use this to determine when we should have a green color over a day. This also will help us determine which month to start on, because we should start on the month that is the current month. And then now we're in start, and we're going to update the calendar. We just need to call this update calendar function in the beginning so that it will overwrite all those ones and put in actual values, and it will change to the correct month. Then this update calendar gets called every time the month is switched or changed using the left or right arrows. So let's look at update calendar, because this is the majority of the functionality of this calendar. So update calendar takes in a year and a month. That's how we switch to the correct month of the year. We're gonna start. This is a little weird to think about. We're gonna start creating a new date, using the year and month, and just pick the first day. So we need the first day because we need to know which day the month starts on. And if we pick the first day, we can also figure out the day of the week that the month starts on, and that's what we're doing here. So we're setting the current date to temp for now. We're setting the current date to the first of the new month and year that we picked. And then we're going to change the month and year text to this new month and year. This we already know. We don't need to even know the first day for this of the month. We know what the month and year is going to look like. The start day, this is why we needed to set that first day. So let's look at this get month start day. So we're actually doing the same thing here. We're picking that first day of the month and we're returning the day of the week. So this day of the week function will return an integer between 0 and 6. You can see here Sunday is 0. Oops. Sunday is 0, Saturday is 6. So we're going to get a number between 0 and 6 from this start day. So if we go back up here, we'll get a start day. We'll also get an end day. Let's look at end day real quick. Sorry, end day is equal to the total number of days. So total number of days returns the total number of days in the month based on the month. And this is just a datetime function that we're using. So pretty self-explanatory. Okay. And now using this information, the start and end day, first thing we're going to do is, as I was talking about before, if we don't already have any days inside our list of day objects, then we know that this is our first month, or this is the first time the application has been started, and we also know that we need to spawn these days this one time, so that in the future all we have to do is update. So that's what this loop does. It loops through the weeks, it loops through the days, it's going to create a new day, it's going to set the value of the day. So if we take the week and we multiply by 7, and then we add I, that's going to give us the day value. So for an example, let's take the first week. We take 0, 0 times 7, so we'll start with 0 week. 0 times 7 is 0, plus 1, that's day 1. Now let's take the third week. So 3 times 7 is 21, and let's say we're the 4th day into the third week. So 21 plus 4, 25. So that gives us the 25th day. So that's essentially how this calculation works, and it gives us the correct day. And as we're going through these days, we also need to account for the disabled days, right? The grayed out days. And so we're checking if the current day is less than the start day, and remember the start day is going to give us a value between 0 and 6 for the first week. And so if this current day is less than, let's say the start day is 6 and the current day is less than 6, we don't want, or we want to create the disabled, the gray. That's what this color gray here. We want to create the disabled objects, disabled days. And the same thing we want to do when the current day minus the start day is greater than the end day. This just lets us know that we're past the end day, that we're past the total number of days in the month, and we also want to create or to make these days disabled days. Okay. And otherwise, we know that the day is not a disabled day, and we're going to set the color to white, and we're going to change the text. Okay. And we're going to add each of these days. We're going to add each of these days to the list of days. And then, so this is the case when we did not already have days filled out. We had an empty list of days, and we needed to create these day objects. In the other case where we already do have them, we just loop through all of the days, and there's 42, or I guess it would actually be 43 possible days. And well, no, it's 42. It's 42. And we're looping through them, and because it's 6 times 7. We're looping through them, and once again, we're checking to see, we're almost the exact same things. We're checking to see if it's less than the start day, or if it's past the end day, it should be gray, otherwise it should be white. And we're also updating the day value. We need to make sure we do this, otherwise even if the day colors are correct, if we don't update the value, it'll still have some old day value. And some of the grays will also have text for day, day values, and that's also not what we want. So, okay. And then finally, after we've set everything to white that needs to be white and everything to gray that needs to be gray, we want to check if today's date is on the calendar, and if it is, we want to set it to gray, or green, excuse me. And so we set everything to white first, just to make sure everything is correct, and then we can do a pretty quick check to set today's day to green. Okay, and then we've already looked at get month start date, we've already looked at get total number of days. We haven't looked at switch month yet. This is the function that the left and right arrows will be using. So direction, remember, it's either 1 or -1. Technically, you could use any positive number and any negative number. I just use 1 and -1. It seemed pretty clear. But if it's less than 1 or less than 0, meaning that it's the left arrow, we're going to subtract from the current date. Remember, the current date is equal to the first date of the month, and that's completely fine for the purposes of this function. We don't need any other day of the month. We just need the first day of the month, and then we can subtract 1 month, and it will put us at a new month with the current date also equaling the first day of the new month. And once again, the day is pretty arbitrary. It doesn't really matter. We just need to have a day value, which we're just using the first day of the month. But it could be any day of the month. We would still know, it would still help us find out which month we're currently looking at. So we're going to subtract 1 month if it's the left arrow, and if it's the right arrow, which is the else statement, we're going to add 1 month. And you can also see that this doesn't limit the calendar to a certain year. This goes on forever. So if you wanted to limit it to a current year, this switch month function would probably be the place to do it. You could just have an if statement check above all of this and see or no, I guess it'd have to be inside each of these inside these if statements. So in this case, for the left, you would check if you added 1 month or subtracted 1 month, would the new month value be less than your minimum month year, you know? And then the same thing for the positive direction, would it be greater than your maximum month year? And if it is, you just don't do anything. So that's how you'd set up limits, but this has no limits right now. And then finally, we need to call that update calendar function again, which will update all the days based on the new month. And that is it. That's all there is to this calendar. It's not too bad. There's a lot of functionality you could add, which I suggest you think about adding in the future, but this is just to get you started. So that's going to be all I have for you. If you have any ideas for future tutorials that you would like, leave a comment or let me know, and I will try to get to making those videos. Hope this helps, and thanks for watching.